Mm.
Okay, so we're live. Here we are. So if
Awesome.
any of you are tuning in right now, we are doing this through StreamYard for the first time.
And this is actually nice, man. This is nice.
Cool. Yeah, you got to do things right. And I have to thank O'Brien for last week, cutting our teeth on that first inaugural show. So for any of you tuning in right now, Roger and I were in the green room. We're in the green room chatting, and I thought I'd never hear myself say that. So, dreams do come true.
Yes. Except my dream was crushed earlier today when my damn Cowboys lost their game today. So.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. That could hurt. That could hurt.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. But this makes it a lot better, though.
Yeah. Well, there'll be a lot of chat about hurt feelings here on the cusp, and it's a good segue for anybody who's tuning in for the first time. Important to frame this show correctly. Its intention, its purpose is really to build a community. You have like-minded people, same DNA. The tagline is the nudge you've been dying for. We're all on the cusp of being better. We're all on the cusp of starting a business or starting a brand, or post I did yesterday is restoring a car that's been in the garage for 10 years just waiting to come to life, or take a course, or even creating love, which means being open to receiving more love and giving more love, and that's the premise of this show. It's unabashed, it's not contrived, it's not pretentious. It's always a deep dive into the human condition. We tend to trip over ourselves, we tend to make a straight line crooked. The idea is to leave the audience with more tools and more fuel, and why that's so significant and important. Layering is a very powerful word here at On the Cusp, and what these shows are going to do, and what O'Brien provided as some subject matter last week, is oftentimes we just don't know how. And I'm going to get into the context of our relationship in a couple of minutes. Don't know how. And we talked about searching and seeking out the mentors that we need in order for us to get that ball across the goal line. You can try and go about it by yourself, but the great people in this world stood on the shoulders of many awesome people. So tools and fuel, right? So that's why the theme of this show with Roger Casanova from Casanova Design USA is creativity meets hustle hard. I put it the other way, but I was like, one dovetails itself more nicely into the other. So a little bit of context of our relationship in seeking out mentors. So I've got three beautiful brands that I'm very proud of.
Yes.
Helped me with.
And I'm happy for you too, because they look badass. You're doing great, and I love it. So happy for you, man.
Well, you were behind on the man behind the machine, as they say. So I have an enormous amount of thanks for that inspiration and fuel and tools that we're talking about here today. So I started with Faya. That was the first brand that I was tinkering with, and we'll talk about what tinkering means versus actually building and getting down and serious and rolling up our sleeves and getting to work. Right? We're under construction. I've seen websites that say under construction, and it's there for months. It's like, are you ever going to, you're on the cusp, but are you ever going to get there? Right? So I started with Faya. It was, I'm not going to get into the origin story. A lot of people who may be, seeing this will understand where I'm coming from. But I knew branding was such a significant part of reaching an audience, and I knew I could do it myself. I'm not an artist. And so Instagram, right? We talked about maybe picking up a book or seeking out mentors, and I saw Roger's work on Instagram. We're connected, just was scrolling through, probably one late night with a whiskey and just going. The first thing that I saw actually that turned me on to you was your, we'll show that a little bit later in this episode, was your cycling one.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And I was just like, that's slick. I need some of that. I need me some of that. Right. So for the viewing audience, hey, Mr. Casanova, Roger, I'm something. And
this guy from Canada, out of nowhere comes into my life. I'm like, what the hell? Canada, okay. Let's see how real this guy is.
we're pretty real up here in Canada, but we
Yeah.
do have some peeps that are not, so much, right? And that's what this show is about, is real talk and real people. So that's perfect, Roger. So yeah, I reached out to Roger and
Mhm.
said, hey, it started the conversation, and
Mhm.
he was very giving, and he mentored me through the process and gave me a lot of ideas, and he always went the extra mile. And
Yeah.
I think we became fast friends, Roger. I think we're cut of the
Mhm.
same cloth.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You're a gem, and when we'll show the genuine article. You are the genuine article,
Well,
and
likewise, brother. Yeah.
that's where things took off. So, and then we worked on 2 other brands, and we're currently working on a 4th brand. We'll talk
Yeah.
about that some other time. So that's to be unveiled at another time. So,
Mhm.
Mr. Casanova, welcome to On the Cusp. Thank you for being our guest.
Thank you.
And
Thanks for having me, man.
oh man, that's
Yeah.
easy. You're making
I appreciate it, brother. Yeah.
So to introduce you properly is the Renaissance Man.
Mhm.
That's kind of how you
Yeah.
want to get there. So tell me about that.
Yeah. It's crazy, but I've had my hands in a lot of things and trying to find my way, as I heard your story when you were a teen, and trying to find your way and stuff like that. And I think I found myself teetering between law enforcement and being an artist. Can you believe that? I mean, that to me, that was the strangest thing. And I'd always, for the longest time, I'd always found myself wanting to help people out. And so that's what I did. As a young man, I'd always find myself helping the little kid that lost his ball, that rolled into the street or something like that, or the old story you hear about the old lady needing to be walked across the street because she didn't know when to cross, and stuff like that, holding the door open for her. So I found myself doing that a lot, helping people out, getting involved into helping people out, feeling sorry and feeling like the guy that couldn't help himself, the guy or the girl that couldn't help themselves, somebody needed somebody to do that. So I found myself getting involved in that quite a bit. And so what a lot of people don't know about me is that I have been in law enforcement for almost 20 years. And that was as a corrections officer working in the jail. So a lot of that, like I said, over the years, yeah, over the years, I had wanted to do my artwork, and I know, yeah, O'Brien, yeah, exactly right. It's like I took one leap to the other. It was just a big ass leap from law enforcement to an artist and going back and forth with it. So, but during all that time, I found myself dabbling in my artwork and wanting to do art. I'd eventually go to places trying to find out, okay, well, maybe I'll work in a studio. Maybe I'll try my hand at working for somebody. And I did that for years, trying to hook up with people and working in studios and stuff like that. I'd find a small studio and try to pick up a job here and there. And what I found out I didn't like was being told what to do. Go figure. Yeah. Yeah.
Entrepreneurs don't like that.
No, they don't, man. They do not being told what to do. And then trying to try that being in law enforcement, being told what to do. Now, you're the ones that are forcing rules and regulations, right? It's very tough, man. Being creative and then trying to do something like that. I mean, it's like they almost just don't jive, man. There's something. So, but I found a way. I found a way to mix the two, and my personality and trying to help people out and being creative. I was able to find a way in that law enforcement side of me, and that was fun. But what I regret these days, now that I'm here where I'm at doing what I truly love, what I regret is not being able to work for myself years ago, not realizing that I could have done this years ago, working for myself instead of working for other people. It took me years to figure out, well, I should have been doing this all along for me, you know?
And if I can, Roger, that's a perfect. I love what you're saying. There's a couple of things for me there. So why did it take you so long, Roger? Why did it take you the
And
time it
we've
took?
talked about it, and we've talked about it before, and you've heard me say it, and yes, and that's the fear of failure, the fear of not being able to succeed. You think that you have to succeed in everything that you do. And if you can't succeed in everything that you do, you feel as though, well, how can I go on? Right? You know, if I'm going to fail here doing this, and it could be anything in life, whatever it is. See, that's the thing, is that you think, how can I go on? How can I push on? Okay. If I make a mistake now, how can I go on tomorrow? You know, well, some of us are fortunate to have that voice in our head, or some of us are fortunate to have people that say, well, you can go on. You just got to keep on plugging away, you know? And I think about guys like my dad. You know, my dad was a wonderful man. He was a great man. But there are some things that I know he didn't instill in me that I have tried to instill in my son or my kids today, saying that, you know, you can do whatever you want and don't be afraid, because if you do make a mistake, you know, you have to keep pushing on, you know? You know, and I'm hoping that they take that with them today, that they remember those things. And I keep on harping on that, you know, hey, you know, you get frustrated today. It's okay, because I've been there. All right. All 57 years of me, I've been there. All right. So like I said, and I'm hoping I've got another 20 or 30 more years to do it, you know. And yes, I feel as though there is plenty of time, you know, like O'Brien is saying, I do feel as though there's still plenty of time. I feel within me that I can continue to go on for a good amount of time. Now, if I didn't have my wife pushing me to the doctor's office, okay, maybe not. But if it wasn't for her, like I said, she's the technical side of me, keeping me in line and telling me to get my ass to the doctor's office and stuff like that, you know, and reminding me, you know, if you gotta have something technical in the back burner there too, also, because all creative is not gonna make it.
Yeah,
You know?
no, and that's where it's going to be. You know, we're going to talk about hustling hard and that brand and what that means as far as this show. And there's things that that I like that you're saying that really ties in nicely with what this show is really about, right? Which is that whole real talk and honesty is a catalyst for growth. This is what this is all about, and that's what you're doing. Is you're being candid about some stuff, which that's why I love you as a man and as a person. Is, as you know, I'm very close to law enforcement as well in my family. Right. So
right.
You know, spouse and brother and all that good stuff. And the guardrails are really tight, right? Going back to that. It's like it doesn't allow for too much creativity, right? And we're going to talk about what that
right.
So you found an outlet in order to be able to fulfill that fill that cup of creativity. And we're all creative creatures. I don't care who you are. If there's one person watching this show is going to watch the show later and says, I don't need to create anything.
Right.
Bullshit. Okay.
Right. Right.
It is part of our DNA, and it's something we need to do in order to feel alive. So,
right.
Like your messages is about, you know, your kids and you're paying it forward. You know, talking about helping people. That's another thing about your fabric is you're always looking to pay it forward, and you have paid it forward to the nines with me and all my projects and all of our interactions. You've always been there. I mean, even some crazy late night. I'd be like, this guy doesn't sleep. Right. I found my match made in heaven. So a few messages there. You know, a guy who can keep pace with me. It's like it's nice to see that thing. So so and doing a segue into the whole creativity part and starting there. So where did it start for you? Where was that kind of that first, you know, getting rid of the fear and saying, shit, I'm just doing this, man. I'm gonna step off and reach for it.
Damn, that is a good question, Steph. I'm trying to think back real quickly where it started for me, and I have to say, it's been like a freaking open wound, like I've been cut. I'm watching O'Brien's comments. I've been cut. And then the blood just slowly has kind of seeped out, you know, and there's been no one direct wound that has, you know, finally made me go, oh shit, yeah, right, this is it. No, it hasn't happened that way, and it's still to this day, I still have questioned myself. I still debate with myself. I'm still thinking, you know, and I'll confess right now. I mean, I thought about, well, Maybe I'll stop doing my logo work, and I'll just go ahead and just concentrate on my own branding, and I really want to go back to my fine artwork and just make some beautiful artwork is what I want to do. I've been wanting to do that so bad, and that I can do anytime on the back burner. But the thing that I've found with the logo work for me is because of my creative process, that the desire to do something is so strong in me that it has to be this way, that I find that I kind of fight a little bit with what the client wants sometimes. Yeah. So if the thing, and sometimes, and the struggle is real, bro. The struggle is real, thinking, okay, son of a bitch, they want this. All right, but they really need this. This is what they need. So now I need to convince them that this is what they need, that I know my shit. Okay. I know what I'm doing. Let me tell you, this is what you need, only to find out later on that the client was right. Okay. So it's a funny struggle. And sometimes I get a little tired of it. I'm like, that took too much. It's almost like going toe to toe in a boxing match, I know we've not always been there, but if you can just imagine being in a boxing ring, it took something away from you in a way,
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like, wow, man. I'm glad I accomplished that project. I'm glad I did that, but I'm not sure if I want to do it again, man. And then,
And I so appreciate what you just said there, because I have been self-employed for many years and still am to a certain degree.
right.
I need to find my outlets and the things that make me whole and fulfilled outside of work. And I I am who I am wherever I am. Anybody who knows me, who's known me for a long time, it doesn't change. I am who I am wherever I am. I try to bring the same flavor and the same desire to work as a team and collaborate. And you're talking about collaborating, and some collaborations are right?
Yeah.
Where, because I've been a strength and conditioning coach, it's sort of like painting a canvas with the client, and you go through the consultative process, and then you talk about what the goals are, and you talk about what it's going to take to get there.
Right.
Oftentimes, that client doesn't see you as the mentor.
Right.
You let me take the wheel, because right now you're still driving. And then the other part, you're going to be paying me to
get you there.
Enormous pride in your work. So I know, having done this 3 times with you.
Yep.
We're seasoned now.
Yes.
I know the process with Mr. Casanova, so I give him the wheel. I say, take me there, take me to the river, right? And every single time, I mean, you're a subject matter expert. You know what you're talking about. You know your process. So I get that struggle. That's the business side of managing, because you have your creative side, and then you have that side where you're trying to have that client or that person see through your lens, right? And that's a tough thing to articulate, right? So really appreciating that. I guess another question for you would be, what do you find most gratifying about your creative work? What does that do for you?
The biggest gratification I get is when someone says, "Man, I'm just so happy with it." Just those few words. I'm so happy with it, or I just, oh yes, this is mine, or that feeling that that they feel the accomplishment too, as much as I do. It's easy for me to sit back in my chair and say, "Yeah, that's what I do." Okay, but when the client says, "Oh wow, yes, okay, now oh, I see what you're getting at," or "I love it," or whatever, to me, that does it all. Okay, don't get me wrong, the money is great. Okay, but but it's when the collaboration works, that's the best thing, man. That's the best. And to know that, yeah, I did that. Those are like my babies too, once I get them off to the client, it's theirs, free tax, title, and license. It's theirs. But at least it leaves something for me, like in my portfolio now, I can say, yep, this is what Casanova Design has done, and for past clients and in Canada and abroad and, stuff like that. We get bragging rights, so
Yeah.
yeah, that's what I love. And then when I see that you do something with it, I love it even more.
Okay, so I gotta stop you there. I gotta inject myself right here because I'm just kind of like compartmentalizing, and
Right.
you almost read my mind there, which
Hey.
is kind of like what a relationship's been like.
Right.
Is you do this work and you provide somebody with their branding, right? Branding is the lifeblood of your identity. That's kind of how I look at it. If you're going to brand yourself, take your time.
Right.
Hire somebody who knows a shit ton about what that means, because once you've committed to it and you start putting it on hats and shirts and, well, you look behind, scarves and whatever, is you must be tickled pink when you see your logo that you've created on a hat or on a scarf, or somebody actually doing something with it, which I mean is versus people tinkering and versus actually picking up the tools to build something. So that must be just so gratifying.
Yeah. Well, you know what? And us being here right now, like I said, it feels good knowing that, because this is actually only secondary the way I feel right now. It's secondary to me realizing that, I created that for my clients. But what just us talking right now, I'm thinking, when I see that, I see Steph, I see you. Okay. I see your brand. I don't see what I did actually, us talking to right now. Okay. I don't see that as, no, I see that as you, which is very, very cool. That to me, just us here talking about right now, feels really, really good, because I feel like I have no part in it, to be honest with you. I mean, this is OTC. This is, you're doing your thing right here. That's what I see. OTC. I don't see Casanova Design USA. That's flat out, bro. I don't see that at all. Because it's interesting that you asked that. It's interesting that you asked it, because for you asking that, I'm just realizing that right now. Because when we just got on the screen here and everything, and I see it, and I see the logo there on my side of the screen. I mean, that's you, man. That's Steph Saint Laurent, man.
But if your wife's watching,
well, man, I tell you what, man, just stay in Canada, bro. Like I told you earlier, just don't come crossing the border, man.
I died, man. I was like,
and she told me that twice already. And for her to put something like that on Facebook on top of that, this woman here, like I said, she don't play around, man. So when she meant that, buddy.
Or when I shared that with my wife, Tanya, she was like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, "Saint Laurent Casanova. Like, it is like hand in glove, man. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Saint Laurent Casanova. Like,
hey, I told her, and she put on there that little icon of Prince, which I thought was funny. I said, you know what though? I said, exactly. I said, because Prince would do something like that. I said, he loved doing stuff like that. He loved France. He loved Paris. And some of his monikers would be like Victor and he had Saint Paul, who was from the group called The Family. And you may not know this, but a group called The Family put out one album. Oh, I love that album to death, man. And one of their main singles was called Screams of Passion. And they were, of course, from Minneapolis. So he named his main singer Saint Paul. And so I'm thinking, from Minneapolis, how can you go wrong, man? Yeah. I said, so again, that's something that, and that's funny that she did that, because her not even realizing the connection. I mean, it was obvious. Yeah. So she's right.
Oh man, totally. And for the viewers out there who are watching this, I am an ardent fan of Prince, have been since I heard him for the first time.
Yeah. Isn't that funny? Isn't that funny?
We're going to see some artwork soon. I'm going to post it up on the screen. I'm going to get Roger to kind of speak to some of his projects and what he's created. Prince is a big part of this man's life right here.
Yeah.
And, I just thought it was another, cool way to connect. I was like, oh, this guy's a monster Prince fan, right?
Oh, big time, bro.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. So another question for you as a creator.
Mm-hmm.
do you get well, I say writer's block, what was coming out of my mouth there. Do
Oh,
you get creative blocks? Let's talk
oh,
about that,
yeah,
because right, it's not all rainbows and sunshine. It's not like banging out
man. I tell you
preload
what,
Jeff and
if they had artist Drano, I'd be sucking on that stuff, man, constantly. Man, yeah, I get it quite a bit, and that is very frustrating. But what I find has helped me out is this old technique they called brainstorming and doodling. Just and thank the Lord for, our internet and modern technology and stuff like that. But because I come from the old school, I tell people I'm the guy. I still find putting pen to paper, putting that actual tool onto some paper, okay, still does wonders for me. And there's something, because I'm able to connect it from the head on down into my arm, into my hand. I'm able it's more fluid for me. And so that helps me. I'm not sure what that does, if that would work for other people, but for me, it works because just doodling and scribbling. And sometimes when I scribble and doodle, it leads me to other things. It creates other things, and it starts opening up that floodgate for me. So that's that. And I just realized that's a little trick I learned just recently. I mean, like I said, for as long as I've been doing artwork, and being an artist and stuff like that, I envy those people that can just have shit plastered all over the walls and on paper, and they've got what stuff all over. To me, that's a true artist. My thing was I might have some kind of disorder to where, um, I say disorder, but it's like, uh, uh, the idea has to come first before I get it down, which for me that's actually backwards. It should be, you gotta have an outlet to get this creative juices flowing somehow. You have to. So whether it's working out, or whether it's going for that jog or something like that, for me it was like I'd have to just start doodling. And so what I would find myself doing is, anytime I was out and an idea came to mind, I saw a napkin on a table or something like that. If I had a pen handy or something like that, I'd be scratching and creating all kinds of doodles. Let me see. All this right here, all that shit right there, all those are just scribbles of whatever, and I'll be revisiting those at some point for new ideas, to other branding ideas and stuff like that. And so, yeah, that creative blocks, they still happen. They still happen.
So, other than working with your client and knowing that experience and working with you, and you ask a lot of really good questions. That's for me, having been in business for a very long time for myself, and having an appreciation for people who are really, really in tune and good at what they do. It's about the quality of their questions. And you've always asked me really, really good questions. You got me thinking, right? Because I'm just jazzed up and excited, and I know in my mind's kind of sort of what I think I want, and then all of a sudden you start presenting me some stuff, and then I realized, motherfucker, I had no idea what I wanted until Roger started flipping stuff my way, throwing stuff over the fence for me to look at, and I'd be like, well, wait a second,
Right.
I think I gotta sort of rethink a little bit about what I want it to be and to mean. And that's where I think you really shine through, and you really do a great job working with your client. So my question with saying all that is, how do you know when you go, I think this is it, and then you go, take a look, brother, take a look, Steph, I think this is where you need to take this. How do you know that in that whole process? How do you know that?
Those are good questions. Good question. Another good question, man. So for me, because I start imagining this idea already on products, I start looking at, okay, if I see this on a wall or a truck or a billboard somewhere, um, is it gonna be easily remembered? And that's kind of like where I guess my style stems from in creating a brand or a logo or something is that if you see some of my work and you recall when you go through some of my stuff, you see there's some similarities as in simplicity. Okay. And I've always been the person, as far as my taste go, is simplistic. I've always loved the industrial look. Um, when I was single, my apartment, even though I did artwork and was an artist, I had nothing on my walls. Nothing.
Wow.
No
Wow.
pictures, nothing. And it was
Not even
because I
a print.
loved
Not
not
one
even
print.
not one print, nothing, no prints,
Uh,
nothing. Yeah, nothing, not even a picture of myself. Okay. So
and you're handsome. I wouldn't blame you for
hey,
that.
I tell you, whatever. So
Good.
I loved blank walls. I love space. It created the cleanliness of this space and all that. It did good stuff for my head. There was no clutter.
Right.
Okay. So that plays a big part in my style and what I do when I do something is that the design should not be too busy or too messy. It doesn't have to say a whole lot. As a matter of fact, it doesn't even have to say what your business is about, but it has to be something that is iconic and something that people will easily remember, so
And
um,
and speaking to that, Roger, sorry to because I want to be able to have the viewing audience understand, some other layers on top of that. So, I mean,
yeah,
if you look at on the video, you'll see the on the cusp, you'll see it on my hat. And what was fun about going back and forth with 3 different projects, Roger would shoot over, a concept to me, and then when we landed on this one, I would share with Roger what I would see, and then Roger would have some epiphanies and be like, "Shit,
yeah,
yeah, man."
yeah,
Oh,
right,
I didn't even know I was doing that, but I was doing that, and that's what makes it so kind of cool because
right,
that's the creative process, right? So the
yes,
whole OTC, right? There's the
right,
O, there's the
right,
C, and people have asked me. So just so you know, Roger, because we don't get
yes,
a chance to talk very often,
right, right,
other
right.
than text and whatnot.
Mhm.
People are like, "Well, where's the T?"
Good.
And I'd be like, maybe. See, that's art, man.
That's
You got to
right.
think and
That's
look for it.
exactly right.
Look
That's
for it,
what it's
right?
all about. You may not
And
even
so
realize you don't even realize you're looking at it.
the
It's right
T's
there in the
inside the
middle.
T, right? And then it was almost
Yep.
like a keyhole. And
Yep.
then Roger and I were starting to chat around more tools, more keys to the city. And that's what On the Cusp
Yep.
is all about. So things that go into the relationship part of collaborating
Yep.
and allowing somebody
Yep.
to take the helm and guide you through, right? So,
Yep.
and I even look at when you did the Hybrid Strong logo, you
I
came
love
back
that
and
one
was
too. By the way, I love the hybrid strong.
oh yeah,
Love it.
man. I mean,
Yeah.
that was very sentimental for me. I had
Yeah.
my Hybrid Strong logo, as you know. I shot that over to you when we started talking about that
Right.
project, and that was done for me like I mean, easily
Yeah.
20 years ago. And
Right.
Renaissance man, right? Kind of like who you are. I needed to
Yep.
kind of regenerate, refocus my energy, and I knew I could
Right.
achieve that through you, right? And you did that
Yeah.
again. Super clean, gets the point across, great for
Yeah.
branding on clothing and everything else.
Yeah.
So speaking of
Mm-hmm.
creativity and branding, I'm going to shoot some of your artwork up on the screen for people to see,
Okay.
and we're going to talk about it. So the first one I wanted to put up there is this one.
Yeah.
Can you
Yeah.
see that?
Yep. Yes, sir.
Okay. So we're going to keep that up there for the viewing audience. I want
Okay.
you to tell me about this.
So this one here, believe it or not, so I've had my own personal logo created years ago, and it was an older version of this one, and I remodified it, and it was still kept the stylized C on the left. The left part of the heart is a stylized C, and of course the right side of the heart is a stylized D. The three flames, the three flames represent live, laugh, and love. So I've always caught myself. I don't know, man. I've always been fascinated with the universal heart symbol, as a lot of people are. But this is one icon that has always stayed with me for such a long time, and especially the kind of person that, like I said, always caring for people, and just being I'm not a hard ass or anything. So like I said, it represents, I think, my work well and who I am. So that's basically what that's all about, though, Steph.
Yeah, and I wanted to lead out with this, I guess, this artwork because I know that's the essence of who you are. And now, when you say
Right,
you're not a hard ass,
right,
where you and I are both hard asses where we need to be, and that's
right.
going to come into the hustle hard part of our conversation here on the show. Is
Exactly.
right. It's like a great book that I do the audiobook thing because I mean I have a commute for work and I find it easier to listen, trying to read and whatnot. And a great book that I recommend to everybody out there is Hard Times Create Strong Men.
Hmm.
And wow, man, that just completely blew my
Okay.
mind and made me question so many things. And I love when people make me question things. I'm not afraid of that,
I'm,
right?
I'm making a
And
note.
being wrong. So I knew that this was a very intimate, very special, and something that was dear to your heart. So we'll move
Right.
on to another one here. Okay,
Okay.
so this is the one earlier in our chat here on the show. I said
Mhm.
caught my attention on Instagram.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right, guys,
Right.
damn, that's badass.
Yeah. Yeah, man. So as here's the Gemini side of me. Okay. So as much as I love hearts and flowers and all the pretty little things out there in our world, I also love the other side that I think a lot of us have, or a lot of people have, is that bad side to them. Okay. So anytime there was something with the devil, thanks, O'Brien. So anytime I always used to like to draw images of the devil. As a matter of fact, I've got a brand called Rojo, which again is just another devil icon, and doesn't mean that I'm supporting evil or anything like that. It's just the
Are you
what is the
talking about
word?
this one here, brother?
Exactly, that's the one right there. It's the cynicism in it, I guess, or the irony, however you want to look at it. Now, Rojo, what that was all about was the little tagline I have: "Never judge a person by his horns." So that was basically about, not stereotyping. Don't stereotype people, that kind of thing. And so the devil here, you see him holding flowers and stuff like that, is supposed to be, well, shit. I mean, devils don't, they're not those kind of creatures. They're evil, they're nasty and stuff like that. So this was the thing about fighting stereotypes, and again, not judging people by their cover, kind of thing. So never judge a person by his horns, because you just don't know, they may actually be some real beautiful people. So that kind of thing.
Well, I appreciate that because you and I never talked about this branding, right? Because I've seen a lot of
Right.
your artwork, and this is
Right. No,
actually
we never have.
yeah, and this is a discovery for me. Spending this time with you is an absolute discovery about your work, which is kind of fun because I'm the type of guy that likes to go into things blind, right? My wife likes to plan everything, especially on trips and stuff. Like, I'm
Right.
like, can we just wander? Can we just stumble onto things? Can we just
Yeah.
be like,
Right.
oh man, I wasn't
Uh-huh.
expecting that, good or bad,
Mhm.
good or bad.
Mhm.
So
Right.
I love that, and thank you for that because I'm
Yeah.
always saying you don't know the narrative. You don't know the narrative.
Right. Exactly right.
So, and people are so quick to
Yes.
just make assertions and judge and jump to conclusions. And that's why, in the times that we are right now, the fabric of our humanity is just,
Yes.
is really being pulled at the seams. And this is where, again, why I want these conversations to happen with the likes of you and so many other people to come. So I really love this. So I'm going to move on to some more of your artwork here. Well, speaking of love,
Okay.
right? Speaking of
There you
love,
go. There you
okay.
go. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
tell me about
That
we
cherub.
all know who that is. So tell me about this guy.
No, this here was just a little icon I created. I think, again, with the hearts and stuff like that, I always loved the cherubs and angels and stuff. So I just wanted to create something just fun. That's all that was. And I put the little heart tattoo on his arm, the Casanova Design USA logo on there. So that's all that was. That was just having fun with that one. But that's another one I'd like to possibly revisit and do some more work with as well, though. So maybe put on a T-shirt eventually. I don't know, but yeah, that's all that was. Just having some fun.
Very cool. Very
Yeah.
cool. All right. So this one here, I happen to really love. I love what it stands for,
Okay.
and I have some merch from you.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Right. So, I want to let's chat about that one, Roger.
So you remember how this one started out, right, Steph?
I do. It's your story, brother. It's your story.
So FAF originally and initially started out as Fly as Fuck.
Yeah, brother.
So
love it.
one time, there was one, and you and I both know, we have fun with this, and just like Fire, like I said, Fire is badass. I love it. Don't change it. Leave it. With this here though, with me, I even asked my son one time. I said, "Hey, look," I said, "What do you think?" I said, "How do you feel about? Would you wear something like this as a shirt that said 'Fly as Fuck'?" And I'm asking him. I want him to give me his honest opinion. How you feel about it, and he said, "Yeah, I'd wear it." He said, "Yeah." I said, "Okay." I said, "Well, I'm glad." I said, "You're being honest with me, right?" He goes, "Yeah." I said, "Okay." I said, then I got thinking about it and saying, "Man, but am I going to want to wear it if I happen to spell it out? How am I going to feel? How's my wife going to feel? How are my kids going to feel if I'm walking around with this shirt and it says 'Fly as Fuck' on it?" So I said, "Man, yeah." I said, I can't do it." I said, took a step back, and one of those things I had to go recreate the idea behind it. And then, of course, Faith and Fortune came, and I said, "Yeah." I said, "That'll work. Yeah, Faith and Fortune is going to work. It's going to appeal to the masses a little more." And so, thank you, O'Brien. Thanks, brother. And so that's why. And then, believe it or not, and here's another thing that happened. Also, I had a friend of mine come to me, and he goes, "Hey, Cass," he says, "Man," he says, he says, "My daughter came up to me and she saw the FAF on my hat, and she goes, 'Daddy,' she goes, 'what does the FAF stand for?'" He says, "Well," he goes, "I told her," he says, it stands for faith, and I can't remember if he told me that he couldn't remember what the second part of it was. No, he said it's no, fly is fly. He says fly something. He says, I can't remember. So I don't know if he was lying to her or what.
Yeah,
but when he told me that his little girl was asking him what it stood for, I said, "Damn it." I said, "Okay, Johnny." I said, "I'm gonna have to change it." I said, "Yeah, I can't let that go." Asking her
Well,
daddy what it stands for. I said, "That's not gonna work." You still there, Steph?
Yeah, I'm still there. Yeah, there
So
you go.
so then that's the reason why we changed. That's the reason why I changed it and why we went Faith and Fortune. And now I'm glad that I did. It means so much more, and so I can do a little bit more with it. So that's why now Faith and Fortune. So.
And again, hear the theme about being honest about stuff and what we create, and sometimes we commit to something, and sometimes we don't know what we commit to until. And so here's wow, look at this. This is my mom. My mom is dialed in. Hi, Mom.
Awesome.
Hi, Mom. All right. So
hello, Mom. Thank you for joining.
Mom's in Ottawa. She's in Ottawa. So,
gosh darn it.
To reciprocate on your FAF, I went through the same process with FIA, right? So when I was tinkering before actually building and committing to something, committing to that brand, because it's not only a financial investment, but it's also like, it's out there to the world now. FIA means fuck all y'all, right?
Right.
But having to let people know that it's actually a positive mantra, and the people who know my DNA and what what I've committed my life to with people is propping people up, pulling people up, paying it forward, is I don't have time for the negativity of the haters and the naysayers and the Debbie Downers and just toxic people, right? It's like kind of a superpower. And then exactly your example, I had my youngest daughter, when I launched the Instagram account, reach out to me and say, "Hey, Dad, I see your FIA. What's that all about?" And I went, "Oh, snap. Damn, I didn't think that one through." So I'll never change it, because it is literally about supporting people who are doing good work out there.
There you go.
Well, it stands for all your awesomeness, honey.
There you
Right?
flip the switch on him, man. You
Right?
flipped it.
A little
Yeah,
bit of
yeah,
the PG
yeah.
version there. So we have similar stories, and that's what makes it so cool. Okay, so here's another one here I'm gonna throw up there. I got a bunch more because we got time, and we're
Okay.
gonna get into
All right.
hustling hard in a little bit.
Mhm.
So yeah, all right, there you go.
All
I
right.
love this.
Here's another
If
fun one.
you all don't
Okay.
know Roger's Instagram handle, Casanova Design USA, you're going to get to see a lot more of what we're just kind of throwing up here today on this show.
Mhm. Yeah. So the Dro Boy. This now seeing Dro Boy reminds me of a lot of things that I love that I actually don't do, like skateboarding. Because if I skateboarded, I'd probably fall on my ass and break my neck. So yeah. So but still love. I love the skateboarding culture. I love what it represents. And so I came up with Dro Boy and this character with these real thick dreadlocks. And so Dro Boy basically it represents now Dro in real life really represents marijuana,
Okay.
hydro through hydroponics. So shorten it for Dro. So that's where what Dro there stands for. It doesn't necessarily have to mean it, but that's where the term comes from, Dro. And of course, you got Dro Boy because I mean, let's face it, many of us males are into some stupid stuff we shouldn't be into.
What are you
But
talking about, Roger? I have no idea what you're talking about, bro.
sure you don't, Steph. Remember, we're one and the same, man.
Yes, we are.
So Dro Boy came now. Now the tagline on that one is uh, high. It's oh my god, I'm drawing a blank. High on life. High on life. Okay, so that's what Dro Boy. Again, going back to that skateboard free spirited mentality. Is what Dro Boy stands for. So, and some more fun I'm having with that one. I've got some more things that I'll be coming out with and on my branding on that one. But I do have some things, some T-shirts and hoodies and stuff. So stickers. But that's Dro Boy. That's what it
And,
stands
and I and I absolutely love it. And if I don't have the artwork for that one, but I just also want to keep things kind of. If you show everything the full Monty, then people don't go and check you out. You should go check out Dro Boy the character on Roger's Instagram handle again, Casanova Design USA. So here's another cool one. All right,
for. There you
talk about
go.
that one.
I've got in
You're breaking
Ronnie
up there,
George in
Roger.
Chicago, right?
Yeah.
And so now this logo here was Revelation Music, and this one was kind of tough because the client wanted something that basically, I mean, you think of Revelation, you think of Book of Revelations, you think of the spiritual content and stuff like that. So it was interesting on this one, but the crown to me says a lot. I mean, it could be anything like the king, king of of the people and stuff like that. But it's actually two M's formed together to make the for music for Revelation music. Just doubled it up on that, and of course the R
Cool.
for Revelation. Yeah.
Very cool,
So,
man.
and again, I wanted it to be something that looked kind of prestigious and stood on its own. Nothing doesn't have to be anything too busy. It's just bold and clean. And I'm glad the the band, the group in Chicago agreed. And so that's what that was there.
Very cool. Thanks for that. I'll save a little more artwork for the end. So before
Mhm.
we get into the second half, if you will, that hitches its wagon
Mhm.
to the creativity side, which is the hustle hard part, which is when I saw that for the first time, your brand and everything, I connected very strongly to it. It resonated, and because my life's been a grind, brother.
Yeah.
It's been a
You're
grind
busy, man.
and
You're a
hustling
busy dude,
hard,
man.
and you walk the same line. So I
Yeah.
like this one, and I'll tell you the reason why I like this one
Hmm.
is, hold on here, I'm just gonna hide this so we can see it fully, is the genuine article.
Hmm.
And maybe you can help me out and expand on it, Roger. is, for me, the word genuine is it's dear to my heart. It's been my email signature for 20 years. You know, people, sincerely yours, truly, whatever. Mine's always been the genuine Steph Saint Laurent, because it's a word that transcends. It's a word that means a lot to me, because what I seek in my relationship is genuineness, is genuine people who are very real. Kind of what we're doing here at OTC, right? Because there's nothing, for me, there's nothing more, nothing is more, let's say appalling is the word I'm going to use here, than disingenuous people. People who are trying to posture like they're all that, and they have your back, and they know what they say, and you can take their word at face value. You can take their handshake as a handshake, but they're a snake in the grass at the end of the day. So the word genuine is very special to me. So this brand for you, when you said the genuine article, what does that mean?
Basically, you said it all. I mean, it's just what it is. It's when you get anything from me, whether it's we're collaborating on something together, or it's friendship or whatever, that's exactly what it is. You get the genuine article. There's nothing false and pretentious about it. Just, I mean, you're going to get the heart and soul of it all, man. So that's exactly what that is. And that's what I created there, was just like a little tag symbol, just to throw out there from time to time to remind people that's what we're all about. So, but you're right, though.
And that's perfect. That's where I wanted to end off that segue around creativity on purpose, is the genuine part, because I know my experience with you, Roger, and it's not like I've only had one project with you. I've done 3, and now we're doing 4. And that says something. Now, I'm going to pump up your tires. I mean, I'm going to, probably hopefully leave you at the end of the show where your head can't leave the room that you're in, because I mean, you truly are that. You give and give and give, and you've been there for me in ways that I can't even, take the time in the show to explain to people. But the experience, and that's a powerful word for me too, the experience with you has been genuine from the start, and it has not changed. It has not morphed. It's not like, again, people who can't go the distance, right? People are good out of the gates, kind of like that used car salesman. Oh yeah, man, I'm your best friend. And smiles and it's great. And then when it comes time to have questions and say, I wanted some changes, or, hey, Roger, can you think of doing this? Or what do you think of that? And you've made tons of changes for me to land. So you are definitely the genuine article. So
well, before, like I said, with finishing off with that, though, is that also, you've heard me say it before, is that if you don't succeed in what you do, then either I didn't do my job, part of it, right? Or like I said, I mean, when you do succeed, okay, then I succeed, and vice versa, So like I said, when I do that work, or let's say, how you and I are, when you hit me up on Messenger or something like that, hey, Roger, can you do this for me or something like that? And I know it's only going to take me a couple seconds or whatever. It's no sweat off my back, man. Like I said, because if it's going to help you get to that next level, then it's good for both of us, right?
100%. And that actually is really perfect, because as you were sharing that, I was thinking about our episode with O'Brien last week, when he introduced himself as, IT guy by day and father and fitness motivator by night. And we asked him, like, why fitness motivator, not guru, coach, or whatever. And he said, well, I'm not on the sidelines just watching you and telling you what to do. Right? I'm in there with you. I'm in there in the process and the experience. I'm entrenched in that journey. And that's another way you just put it. It's exactly that.
Well, with that being said, also, let me add too, like regarding O'Brien as well, when you had that first episode with him, like, damn, this is a good dude also, man. I said, so you've hooked up with some good people, man. And so I don't know where you said you guys went to school together, right?
High school, yeah.
Okay. And so, and I've had friends, like good friends, and we may not be in touch with each other, but we never forget, But like I said, hearing him on the first episode, he reminded me of someone else that I know as well, though. Just some damn good people, man, inside and out. So you start off on the good foot with him, though, man. So But anyhow, hopefully, I'm hoping that eventually we can hook up some more together as well, something like that, though. But yeah,
Well, what I'm
I
hoping to
enjoyed.
do with this show, Roger, is what this platform allows you to do. You can have up to 10 guests. Imagine that. Can you imagine? Can you imagine triaging 10 guests on this show and everybody having their time to chat? So I'm looking to pick topics and bring people who
Yeah.
are passionate about it
Okay.
and just having a really good forum and powwow. And this
Yeah,
is episode 2. I
that'd
have
be
some
great.
really good ideas, and I appreciate you recognizing
Good.
what the tone of the show is meant to be. Is, again, I will
Yeah.
only hitch my wagon to good people that I know that they're genuine and they're making a
Right.
difference and they're doing their very best to be better every single day. I won't
Right.
spend time with anything but that. Right? I've learned my
There
lessons.
you
Let me tell you, I've eaten a shit sandwich without the bread too many times.
go.
So
Yeah. Yes. Yes. I'll still eat some of them.
segue. It's one thing to be creative. We talked about
Hmm.
creativity, what it means in our
Right.
lives, and the
Hmm.
process, and you as a designer, and the great work that you do. But we talked about at the beginning what OTC is looking to leave people with at the end of the show is tools and fuel.
Yeah.
So hustle hard,
Right.
right? You can want
Mhm.
and want and want and want.
Yes.
However,
Yes.
without the work and rolling up your sleeves and
Right. Right.
like under construction and making it work. So I'm going to throw this up here. It's the hat that you're wearing. Let's
Right.
talk about this next. All right. There you go.
Yeah.
Hustle hard. All right, Roger, it's all yours.
So I will say, of all the work that I've done, all the branding that I've done for myself, this one here to me is probably the pinnacle of what I've done. And as simple as it is really, truly, I'm happy with it. But that is, of course, the kanji script from the Asian kanji script has always fascinated me because it is itself is artwork. And so I initially made this design here. It looks similar to this, but it was jaggedy and it wasn't as clean and solid as this one does. But at some point, even when I did it, the initial design, I said, something is just not right, man. I said, I had to keep on playing with it and fixed it up. And then I came up with this solid icon here. And it's two H's put together. Initially, the symbol in the middle was supposed to represent a cross. And so I don't talk about that much, but that's basically has three elements to it, though. So the two H's and the cross in the middle, which is basically subliminal, if you will. But that's how, and this again was supposed to represent something that looked like a kanji script. Marco, thank you so much. And but that's what that is, though, Steph. And I plan on doing a lot more with it. Again, I've got products that have the design, the logo, the Hustle Hard logo, but I really am enjoying this one. This one, I think, if I wanted to just simply do this and nothing else, that would be my other move, is to just put everything else aside and concentrate on nothing but this. And this to me was supposed to basically rival anything like Adidas and Nike. Is That's how strongly I believed in that one, was that if anything was going to compete with them, it would be that. It would be this, the Hustle Hard. I had one guy tell me, he goes, let me ask you, he's going to play devil's advocate. Already he started pissing me off. And just by saying that, and
Yeah.
he says, it kind of looks like the New York Yankees logo. Okay. And so with that being said, I wanted something that would be as strong and as powerful as the New Yankees logo. I mean, that again, of all icons, everyone loves the New York Yankees logo, even if you don't like the team, you know? And
Yep.
so that's what this was. I had to create an image or an icon that was going to be as powerful. So I'm always thinking in that mode. When I create something, it's got to be better than what else is out there. So there might be another logo with the O and the C and the T in it, okay? But it's got to be better what I do has got to be better than that one that's already out there, you know. So, but that's this thing right here. I think is my cream. What is it? That creme de la creme. If I put everything else aside, this would be it. I could retire on
Yeah.
this one right here.
Prince has a song titled "Cream," right? Rises to the top.
That's right.
So
Yes, right.
absolutely, brother. Yeah,
Exactly
Prince is always
right.
here, man. Prince is always here. So great story, and I love that. Right? It's about icons and images that hit the subconscious and conjure up or evoke a feeling in people. And again, it's the lifeblood to your identity. So I'm curious. You're clearly in how I know you and my experience and my time with you. You're a bloody hard worker. You're second to none. So hence hustle hard. What does hustling hard mean to you? Right? It's kind of like, so follow me down the rabbit hole here, Roger. So it's kind of like people defining quality. Well, what's a quality car? What's a quality T-shirt? Quality. It's an elusive animal. Everybody's got a different idea of what quality is, right? You go to say, hey man, I find quality at Walmart, and you go, hey, it's good. Right. That's it. Walmart's your place for quality. And I may go, not so much. Right. So hustling hard, working hard, work ethic. It's almost like an ethos. Everybody's got a different standard. Everybody's that, man, I work hard. I bust my ass all the time, right? It's like,
I show up for my job.
Don't get angry at lazy people because they didn't do anything, right? So hustling hard. What does that mean in your life, and how does that tie into everything that you do?
So with the hustle hard image, there are plenty of days that I don't hustle hard. Okay, plenty of days that I'm not doing that, but it's there to remind me that, like you said earlier, that you're not going to get anywhere. You're not going to get anywhere if you don't get up and start applying yourself. Simple. Okay. Doesn't mean you have to be the fastest runner. Doesn't mean you have to be the richest person out there. Doesn't mean you have to just show up for your job, put in 40 hours, and then come home. It's something that you have to find within yourself to eventually realize I have to keep on trying. Basically, keep trying, don't give up. I still to this day am telling myself, I don't know if I should be doing this, or maybe I better concentrate on something else. But I've said that all of my life, and it puts me off. At some point I get sidetracked into doing something else, and that's not the way to live. So like I said, you have to really do, if there's something in your heart that you want to do. And I just finished dealing with a client on one of the last logos I did. And she was telling me, she goes, I've been wanting to do this for the longest time. She goes, and I just don't know if I should. I'm just afraid that, it doesn't work. And I told her the same thing. I said, don't go not trying because you're going to fall and you think you're already thinking that you're going to fail. I said, I've done that for many years. And I tell my kids that too. I've always told my kids, if there's one thing they can remember that I've told them, is that you just got to keep trying it. Don't give up. If you really want it, if you really, really want it, don't give up. It's not going to happen overnight, but you do have to keep on trying. Hence hustle hard. You have to keep trying. That's the bottom line.
So the bottom line, so speaking of which, right, is to pick yourself up and move forward. And again, I'm a movie guy, I'm a music guy. Everything's either a song or a movie in my head. That's how I associate things. And I love Batman, Christian Bale for me. I mean, hey, you can tell me, your favorite Batman. Mine's Christian Bale. I just thought he was badass in that role. Right. And so Michael Caine says to the young Bruce Wayne, says, why did we fall down, Master Wayne? So we can learn to pick ourselves up again. Right. So those are the things that I just go, fuck yeah. Right?
Yeah.
So the question is, not every day is created equal.
No.
So what kind of things that do you do to pick yourself up again? What are the things where do you find your inspiration, motivation to not go, I'm jumping ship, I'm fully abandoning, this thing that I've been chasing for this long because it's not producing enough fruit.
Right.
Fire. And moving on. So where do you find the strength to pick yourself up and keep going?
Well, I tell you what, I remember people talking about, you hear those saying, you'll sleep when you're dead, and I've always said to myself, damn, man, that's what you call hustle hard, man. If someone's telling themselves, I'll sleep when I'm dead, you know. But for me, I need that rest, man. I need to get that sleep. So I find when I'm stressing or if there are some creative blocks or something like that, I find myself I have to take a step back and just kind of chill out a little bit and relax, you know. But but it is very tough to this day, you know, and I think you know too. It's very tough to this day to keep pushing forward, especially if it's not producing a lot of that fruit for you, you
Yeah.
know. But I always tell myself, I said, well, if a lot of these other guys, these youngsters that are out there and they're making millions, you know, take the music industry for one, okay. These guys, these young guys have hit the streets. I mean, they've done some bad things, meaning, you know, they may have been involved in drugs. They were homeless at times and stuff like that, but they never gave up. And then someone discovered them or something like that, you know.
Yeah.
So I guess my point with that is that sometimes our time comes later in life, you know. Some find it earlier, others find it later. Um, and like I said, here I am being 57, and I feel as though I've got a lot of life left in me. I truly believe I do. Okay. And I'll realize it the day that I die that I didn't. Okay. I hope, I hope I have many more years to go. The way I feel personally,
So
you
do
know,
I, brother.
don't let the gray fool you, you know, because I, 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 I still can dish it out one way or the other. I feel as though I can do a lot still. So like I said, I do still struggle. I still struggle with getting myself up and going, you know, going for it.
Yeah.
You know,
And thank
so
you for
yeah.
being.
So, but back on that, my motivation and stuff like that, though, for me also, number one is family. You know,
Right.
I think if I didn't have my family, things could be different for me. It could be different. I don't know how, but I do know that my family, as I've told in my other job, I've said that I had one guy tell me, he goes, you know, you talk too much about your family. I said, you know what, man? I said, because my family means everything to me. I said, that's why. And I have a family. I said, so don't go telling me shit like, you know, oh, because you talk too much about your family. No, no, no. I said, my family's part of the reason why I'm here where I am today. You know, none of you all out there have done that for me like my family has done for me. So my motivation mainly, a lot of it, most of it comes from them though.
That's an awesome message, man. That strikes a chord in me. And you know, to reciprocate on what you just shared, you know, with Faya, and we
Mhm.
back and forth, and I don't know how many hats I've printed and put out there and gave to people, like
Right.
made $0, zero
Exactly.
dollars. People say, hey, you know, how are you doing with Faya? I go, it's not doing.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm not, you know, shy to say that. Like, I'm a real
Yeah.
person. I got to walk my talk. I'm like, it's not
Yeah.
doing. But
Yeah.
you know what? I am so just motivated by the creative part of it, that I created that and with you, and you provided me that tool and that fuel. And when I share the story, or when I give somebody a hat and I tell them where the origin story is of it, and then I
Right.
get this, oh, shit,
Yeah.
that's the best,
Right.
right? I
Right.
mean, from executives, CEOs, VPs, I've given hats to you name it, whatever. I haven't made any money. If anything, it's all been out of pocket, all been out of pocket. But
Hey.
when I see somebody or a colleague, or I get tagged with somebody, you know, fishing with their hat on, or I had a buddy go hunting that I, you know, work with, and he said, you know, I give you some publicity, and there he is. He's got his deer and he's got his camel fire hat on.
Yeah.
That's winning my sales. That's fuel. That means I did something.
Yes.
Whether it's a smile or a laugh, or a person feeling like, yeah, you know what? I like the FIA community because it's all about being good. It's
Right.
all about not being a grumpster
Right.
and tearing
Right.
people down versus building people up.
Right.
So, to tie into what you said, to hitch my wagon, what you said is absolutely awesome. And we can't do
Well,
it alone, right? I mean, I
yeah.
have, you know, my wife who is there, and she just sits on the sidelines and she just
Yeah.
watches me
Yes.
go, and she's like, "Are you having fun?"
Yes.
I go, "Left and right, I am." She
Yeah,
goes,
yeah. And see,
"Hey, man."
and the same thing here. My wife is the same way. She basically stays out of my way. She sees what I'm doing from the sidelines. And so to me, she's showing me that support by letting me go for what I know. And see, back on Faya, when I created that logo for you, that one to me as well, along with this one here, had to, yes, it was supposed to, the intention was to compete with the Adidas and Nike as well, because you've got elements in there like the three stripes to create the flame. It also creates the F. And so to me, when I created that one, that was my intent as well. I wanted it to be bold and strong. And like I said, and you've been pushing that one awesomely, man. And back to what you said also earlier is that no, we may not be making thousands or anything off this, okay? But you're trying to tell people, man, I wish you could feel what I'm feeling, right?
Yeah,
I wish you
100%.
I wish you could feel
And that's something you can't put money on, right? It comes
right.
back to what we let out with is that we all have the need to create, right? Because that does something for us. That's a level of fulfillment. And you said something that I really liked around what's the advice, for people who are, falling flat on their face and things aren't bearing fruit. And it's like, oh man, it's like, I'm just going to ditch this.
Right.
You said something which is I think a lot of people don't do enough of today is to do that re-up. You said, hey, take a break, get some sleep, reset, and come at it again tomorrow, right? And I do a lot of that because I have a lot of my own stresses and anxieties, and sometimes I spin and think too much. And I know that the best thing for me is just to pull away and come and look at it again from a different angle, maybe the next day with a fresh set of eyes. And sometimes that's where the bottleneck, let's go. That's where sometimes, you may feel like somebody's stepping on your garden hose, but then it was just literally you've acquired another tool. You're going to try something else. And next thing you know, it's like, okay, getting a little bit of traction. So I guess that's the message. And you nailed it for the audience and people who are out there trying to create their lives. It doesn't have to be through artwork or a brand or a business. People are looking to create their lives, through their careers and their profession. And oftentimes, I've talked to so many people who are doing work that they don't like, they just don't like, and they can't create, they can't fulfill that side of it. So that was a really good message of stepping back. So let me throw out, do you have anything to add to that as far as maybe anything else on your mind that could help people as far as
Nope.
Okay. So here's another great, just to highlight some of your branding, just how far it can go. So let's talk about merch, right? And how that plays a role in getting not only your brand and your message and just visibility and awareness of your product.
Yeah. And I'm sorry, Stan, the question you were asking though was what?
What's the significance of your merchandising? Again, we can talk about like the quality of the merchandising, sourcing out the right people. I mean, some of your trials and tribulations, because I know you've coached me and counseled me on, hey, you don't go with these guys, don't do this, don't do that. Like just open up the floodgates on the world of merch and all that goes with it.
Yeah, there's so much that I've found over the years, that the printing business and, trying to get your brand out there and stuff like that. There's, you said something a while back in our session here that, quality, you talk about quality of service and stuff like that, and people committed to what they do. And sometimes it's tough to find the right people to actually do this work for you. And again, you probably run into some of those hurdles before, though, in trying to get some of your other stuff out. But yeah, just not anybody can do this. And then I find that a lot of people, the quality is not there. So I have to, look at it myself and either take it back and get it redone, or search for somebody that really knows what they're doing, but I've been fortunate so far to find some right people to do it, though.
So, and that's perfect because, there's a madness in my method and there's method in my madness, and that ties into the hustling hard, right? You're constantly looking for new avenues and means to get the final product that you want, not
you
on
go.
your first try.
Where you need to go.
Because I've ordered
There you go.
stuff and come in and I go, fuck, I can't sell that. I just lost $50. I can't do anything with
Right.
it. Trash can. I've
There you
had
go. Yes.
so many hats that I got printed by, you know, a certain outfit, and I'm there. I don't know how many times, you know, I would go to pick them up and I would look, and then I'm giving them an opportunity to see what I see, and they're trying to pass it off like it's all good.
Side.
And it's like, you know, I
Yeah.
could say, hey, you know what, this is obviously not going to happen. It's not worth it. So there's the hustle hard part, not
Right.
stopping at the first no or
Not
the first
settling. Not settling. Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
not
Not
settling,
settling. Not settling for. Not settling
not
for
settling.
less. Yeah. And like I said, there's some things, hey, I can let slide here or there, but nothing. But when you're trying to push your brand, your person, whether it's personal brand, or business brand or trademark, yeah, that's what's going to set you apart from everybody else, is just realizing that, you know, there are people out there that can do it for us. The job is trying to find them, right? And then the other part of it is trying to spend the money on it to get it done the right way is the other thing, you know. So there are some factors involved that kind of dictate whether it's going to be great or just okay. And in our line of business, we don't have the luxury of just saying, okay, you know, it's okay. No, we don't, you know. So
because, and I love what you're saying, and I mean, I'm just like on fire right now, because it's about standards, right? It's no different in, we can talk about that in another episode, is we have standards for the kind of relationships we're going to have too.
There you
You're
go.
not going to allow anybody into your circle, anybody into your family, and it's the same thing, you know, in business, or to say good enough. And then if I say, hey, you know, I'm going to give Roger this hat and the stitching is not quite right, but I'm going to pass it off as that and expect, you know, him to pay for it, I have just crippled my brand.
Yes.
Right. And that's where we can talk about brand loyalty. And that's your personal brand at work.
Yeah.
What is your personal brand in your business? What do you stand by, and what will you not accept? Unequivocally, 100%, like no wiggle room.
Yeah. For me, it's always been about quality and service. Quality and service. Okay. Those things for me, they go hand in hand, you know. So, and that can be in anything else, just like you said, in relationships, you know. I've tried my best to be careful on my relationships with my family and with my friends as well. Again, just the quality of service that you give to people. I mean, it's critical, man. It's critical. You know, you have to have your ears and eyes open to what the other person is telling you. And sometimes I don't do so good with my wife. my ears could be a little bit better, but like I said, yeah, those are paramount. Service and the quality of service and the quality of the product. You know, those all go hand in hand. So, and like I said, if I have someone coming back, and I've told people, I said, look, if you're not satisfied with what's being done, I'll take the loss, man. You know, I'll take the loss. I'm not going to give you something if I can't make you happy. Now, of course, that's within reason. If I know I'm giving my best, in all honesty, and I feel pretty passionate and strong about it, and I'll then it'll be a different story. You know, I'll just, hey, look, I'm doing my best, and we're just not agreeing on this stuff. You know, I have not had that hasn't happened to me yet, but I feel so. There's been times when I've come close to it. You know, only to give it some time and be patient, and it actually does work out. So,
and that right there, Roger, is why I'm so fond of you, because it makes me, you know, kind of reflect and think about, you know, some of my own challenges in my life. And, you know, and I've eaten a lot and I've swallowed a lot and worked really hard to give. And I was always the first one to say, hey, you know what, it's not good enough or whatever, client, I'll eat it. No problem. And that's the integrity part of, you know, what we do. You know, we stand behind what we do, and it's not what you say you're going to do, it's what you demonstrate. And those are those acts that people kind of go, that's what that man is all about.
Right.
That's what the woman is all about. And
exactly.
I don't know if Corey Belanger is still on right now. You can just put out a message if you're still watching. So I know he dialed in late because he thought it started at a later time, but is So a trainer back in Ottawa, he wanted to work with me, and we were colleagues too as well. And one of the lines that came out of my mouth, about performance is, "Don't tell me, show me."
Right.
You put that on a T-shirt. Don't tell me, show me.
Right.
You tell me all day long what you're going to do and what you're going to produce and what you're going to give and how you're going to show up.
Right.
Show me. Right.
Yeah.
Right. Talking to my girls, be like, "Hey, Dad, my homework's done." Awesome, man. Show me.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Right.
But what's the quality of that homework? What does that look like? Right.
Right.
Well, if I clean my bedroom, Dad. Right on, man. Makes Dad happy.
Show me.
Right. So
right.
that just was like, boom. It was perfect. And I used that for years, especially with some of my athletes is, we would train beginning of the season, we would have all of our hockey players come in, and then we would test them in various, movement, squat, deadlift, broad jump, and the list goes on. So it was kind of like the benchmark where they're at, and then middle of the year, and then at the end of the year, so they would see their progress. And especially for parents who were paying top dollar for development of the gym, you'd be able to see a report card. And then so at the beginning, you start the conversation. You go, "Hey, Jared, how many chin-ups can you do?" "I can do 15. I'm like, whoa, that's awesome, man. Can't wait to see that. Don't tell me, show me. And then they're up there on the bar, and we're doing this greasing the elbows, right? They're doing one of these, and I'm like, go all day long. And I'd be like, "Hey, wait, Jared, let's try something different. Come all the way down, and let's go back up all the way up." Right. So that ties into what you do, and you do so well, and what you've done for me, and what you continue doing for me is you provide quality, and you can't cut corners on quality. No. There's no close notes to quality.
Right.
None at all. So I'm looking at the time here, Roger, and I want to open it up to if anybody's watching. We've seen, your creativity, and I mean, all I can say is anybody who's watching this, who's going to watch this in the future, because this broadcast is going to be recorded and kept on the Cusp YouTube channel as well. I mean, if you're looking for somebody who's very committed and dedicated to hearing you out in branding yourself and putting yourself out there in the world and being represented correctly, the process and the experience of working with Mr. Casanova, it's second to none. I can genuinely say that. I'm just going to open it up and to see if there's any questions from anybody, and we'll wait a few minutes or whatever, and we'll see if anything comes up. And otherwise, we can chat a little bit more. So, any questions for Mr. Casanova on any of the things that we've talked about? Remember, this is On the Cusp. We're chasing the human condition. Life is hard labor.
Yeah. Hey, man. So while we're waiting, the fourth logo that we're going to be working on pretty soon, that's the one I think that could top all three of the ones that you have coming out that you have right now. So I'm expecting some really good stuff out of me.
And you know what, Roger? So am I. And that ties into something you said that I didn't want to forget about, is also that investment in yourself, right?
Yeah.
You need to spend the money to do things right. You just can't get around it. You just can't get around it. And there's a lot said about you get what you pay for, but yet people perennially make the same mistakes expecting a different result, right? I just laugh at that. I'm like, look at what you're doing. If you're not getting the results,
as a matter of fact, the thing that gets me is I'll come across people, and then I'll tell them, the price on some of the work.
We got a question here. You finish your thought and then.
But I've had people that will, when I give them the price, they're like, okay, then I'll have to put in, after I throw the price at them, and say, look, I said, but this is original work. I said, you're not going to get, this is not like getting on Canva and creating something. I said, because I've had that pulled on me before, and people do not understand the difference between a logo being created on a computer and what a logo should really be, what your branding should really be like. And I've seen some stuff out there like, okay, I mean, that's what they want to do. And they want to put clip art together and stuff like that to create something. I mean, you and I know that's just not the way you do it. Now you want to make a pamphlet or something like that, or an invitation. I mean, God bless Canva. Glad it's around, because you can do those things on there. But
Yeah.
to create a brand or to create a personal monogram or something like that, that's something else totally different. So the question: have you ever had to say no to a client? If so, why? Yeah. So let me think. I've actually not had to say no to anybody, O'Brien. I've not had to say no to anybody. I think I'm able to weed that out at the beginning, because when I tell them how much it's going to cost, and how long it could take, not to expect it in 2 weeks, that kind of thing, because I know, Steph, our projects can last for a couple months, 2-3 months, or something like that in the past, I believe.
Yeah.
But yeah, I usually weed out a lot of that before we go any further. So I've not had to say no to anybody though, not just yet, but I never say never. So
That's from experience, I'm sure, Roger. I'm sure you've been burned in the beginning and in the past. Maybe you
yeah.
haven't. Maybe you were
Oh,
wiser sooner than I was.
yeah.
I dealt with clients my entire life,
Yeah.
and then you're sitting down, you're doing a consultation. That's why I appreciated your process, and I said I'm going to give this guy the wheel because I believe in him, I trust in him, and my intuition is strong. And you sit down, you walk people through, and then you talk about the pricing, and then everybody's good to go. And then you're starting out, and you're not asking for the money because you're afraid to ask for the money. And you're, a few sessions in, and all of a sudden you're like,
Yeah.
trying to have that conversation, and it's like,
Yeah.
oh, and all of a sudden things go weird and sideways.
Yeah.
And that's where you learn quickly on how to weed out, right?
Right.
And
Yeah.
and speaking to that, and maybe giving O'Brien, because I think the question is broad, and I think it's important.
Mhm.
Is I think when you have enough self-respect, right? When you
Right.
have enough self-respect for yourself, for the work
Yeah.
that you do and the work that you deliver, and it's a knowing, and you go, I'm not being arrogant about my talents. I'm
Right.
confident about
Yeah.
them. I know
Right.
what I deliver, and I am
Exactly.
fucking worth it, right? That's being
Exactly right. Yeah.
self-filter. So then you set yourself up for success that way, and you're able to weed that out pretty quick by having
Right.
some certain guardrails in place, right? Ask the question, or even with me, you're like,
Yeah.
hey, yeah, great
Yeah.
stuff. We didn't know each other. This is the cost of my service. Boom. And because of having been in that seat, I remember it's like I transfer the money, boom, and you're like, oh, wait, wow, okay, well, no, okay, good. But I'm like, hey, dude, I'm serious.
Yeah.
We're in business. Let's go. Let's get at it. So I have another
Right. Well,
question here. Another question here
okay.
from Marco.
Yeah. Yeah. From clients stopping your life. Doing okay. Yeah. So Marco's asking basically, when did I just stopped doing work just for the sake of exposure? When did that stop? Uh, Man, I have to say it really. I haven't had to deal with it much. I was going to say what I was going to say was that, I still do a lot of it just for the exposure. I did one, Marco, for example, I did one project for what I felt was a younger person, who approached me online and said that they were going to start a brand. They were, um, starting on Instagram, gave me the name, what they were all about, and I was impressed the fact that they sounded like they had their program or act together. Then I gave him the price on it, and he kind of backed off. I could tell there was some hesitation, and I can't remember what the hesitation was. Steph, yeah.
Yeah, you're
Okay,
back
okay,
now.
okay, okay. He said I've created stuff on Canva, and he says, but like I said, he says I can do it for less. And I said, well, then that's. And I told him, I said, well, that's great. I said, no, go ahead and do that. I said, do that, and I said, because when I do the work, like I said, there's a lot that goes into it. I said, and when I do the work, I'm not finished with you. Basically, when you can come back to me, as you can come back to me and say, hey, look, can you do this for me? Or maybe you just need some advice, or are you going to shoot me a message? My phone stays open 24/7. You're up late and I'm in bed, but you can still send me messages and I'll get it in the morning or whatever, you know. So I did this logo. I went back to the kid and I said, look, I said, I'm going to do this. This goes back to what Marco was asking. I said, I'm going to do this for you. I said, I don't ever do it. I said, but I do want to see this. It could be good for me. And I like what you're doing. So I'm going to do it for you. Dirt cheap. I started working on the design, gave him some great samples, and we were almost finished with it and everything. Oh yeah, I like it. And you know, then he says it kind of reminded him of another logo, and I said, yeah. I said, well, I understand that. I said, but the thing is that it's not kind of like with this, with the guy saying, oh, it looks like the New York Yankees logo, when it looks nothing like the New York Yankees logo, which tells me these people don't look with their eyes. They actually don't know what the hell a Yankees logo looks like, or else they would know there's a difference, right? So I went at the work. We were almost finished. Then I didn't hear back from him, only to find out that he used the logo that I had presented to him on his website. And so I was extremely upset. I said that he did that because he came across to me. He was trying to tell me all the things that he's an honest person, blah, blah, blah. And he was talking some good stuff. Okay. Now, whether he was playing and he conned me into this, whatever, it didn't turn out to be that, but it was that he basically just flat out stole it, figured I wasn't going to do anything about it, kind of thing. And I did go back to him and I emailed him and I told him basically, I said, look, I said, you know, you got me on this one. I said, but what you've basically done here is you stole the work. I said, there's nothing really I'm not going to do anything about it. I said, but I mean, there's in the back of my mind, there are things that I knew I could do, but I think I was more upset with how humans can be.
Yeah, but
even when they seem like they're coming across as honest and stuff like that, you know.
yeah.
Well, he came back later on, and he did pay me after I told him some things to think about. I gave him some things to think about. Okay, didn't threaten the kid or anything like that, but I gave him some things to think about. And the next day, he apologized to me and saying he realized he did wrong, and he did pay me some money. But I did learn from that experience. I did learn from that. So even the exposure couldn't help me because I think he used like 99% of the design that I created for him.
Right. And awesome. We have another question from O'Brien here, and I'll post it in a second. Is what I like, and without you having to get into it, I can surmise potentially what you imparted on him for him to think about, which I call leverage, and sometimes it's just casting polite doubt on people's choices and decisions. And I'm going to package a show down the road and have the likes of O'Brien and yourself, and then Marco, who's online, we're teed up for next week.
Awesome.
Is about being taken for granted. Taken for granted.
Right.
That's something that is a very, very important thing to discuss for me. So next question from O'Brien.
Okay. That's one thing that I grew up without, were with any creative mentors. I guess you could say it's some aspect, I've always loved Picasso's work. So yes, to me, that's been a kind of a mentor to me. I mean, not a real life mentor, but just his work and readings that I've read about him and stuff like that. When I do my fine art work now, what no one has seen probably, but the fine art work I do has a lot of that uniqueness in it. And it's not anything near what maybe Picasso does, because he does something different. But as far as that mentorship, the I guess the creative aspect side of stuff like that, I've always loved looking at his work. Monet, Matisse, not Monet, Matisse. The graphic element to their work is what I love about what they do. So I would say those are a couple of my mentors that from afar, in history, that have really done something for me.
Very cool. Thanks for that, Roger.
Yeah.
So Looking at the time, and it's fine while I'm talking. Again, we freestyle here on the cusp. We don't want to be too scripted. We love tangents. Is if you had to leave maybe one or two nuggets or tools and fuel, remember that's kind of how we roll here at On the Cusp,
Right.
for anybody who's viewing this now or is going to view it in the future, what do you think in your mind's eye you could leave them with as far as something they can work with?
Yeah. Yeah. For me, number one is if you strongly feel that there's something that you want to accomplish or do, don't give up on it. Don't give up on it. Don't be afraid of failing, which I have been all my life, pretty much. Um, uh, that's one of my biggest regrets in life is just not having that confidence in myself when I was younger. I'm not sure why I didn't, but the fear of failure was such a big deal in my life. To feel embarrassment, to feel
Yeah.
shame. To me, like I said, that is a life killer. It's a life killer by not being able to at least give yourself a chance, not just once and not twice, but to keep giving yourself chances to hopefully get to where you want to be, you know? So for me, like I said, that would be the number one thing. Number two would be that I have always felt, truly believe that everyone is creative in some aspect. Okay, whether it's making those cupcakes or whether it's you're a mechanic or whatever. I mean, someone has something to give. And I find it amusing when I see people like in my family. My wife is one of them where, oh, I'm not so creative. I can't do this. I can't do that. And shit, you just did it. I like it. I've always cherished my kids' artwork. Again, because I love simplicity and design and work. And when I see that one little flower on that white page that's only got 2 or 3 colors on it, I'm like, damn, why couldn't I do that? you know? So there's always something there for somebody that has that creative streak in them somewhere, and they don't even realize it. You know, they don't realize that they have something to give, no matter how great or how small. There's something everybody has to give. And then number 3 is that you said it earlier. Art is a part of life.
Got you, brother. I got you, but take your time.
We all have something to give, and people just need to tap into that. Basically that. So there's always something that we can do that other people don't realize. And even at my age, I do find that there's still a lot left in our tanks. So, but like I said, I think art is so critical. The creative processes in our lives is so critical. Um, that if we didn't have it, that life would not exist. I mean, it's how we get along in our relationships. It's how we create life. It's natural. It's a natural instinct. It's natural. It's inbred in all of us. And some people, unfortunately, don't have that. They can't tap into themselves like that. So, and I still try to do that to this day. I still, like I said, it's still work. It still takes some work.
So here's a little comment from my mother, which doesn't surprise me. So if I may honor
I love it. I love it.
if I may honor your moment right now, Roger.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm Yeah, I'm feeling this moment with you.
Mhm.
Creativity is a form of expression.
Right. Right.
You know, art is a form of expression. Prince, one of the most expressive music artists ever met, it wasn't just about the music and his lyrics. When you listen closely to what he had to say, you know, some
Yeah.
people just listen to the music and they're like, "Oh, I can dance to this. This is super cool." But when you stop and really
Right.
listen to what he's saying and what he's sharing, that's a form of expression. When we suffocate and stifle people, that's a tragedy.
Yes.
That's killing somebody's ability to
Yeah.
have a voice.
Right.
And
Right.
the fact that, you know, you support your children and the people in your life, and you go, "Hey, great work. That's really nice." That is helping them
Yeah.
broadcast, you know, their voice and gain more confidence in trying and trying new things.
Right.
And we talked about it, you know, earlier. It was like a life killer. You know, you mentioned that, you know, like energy thieves is what I call them, energy thieves.
Right. Right.
Um, and we talked about it last week on ants, right? Automatic negative thoughts.
Right.
So, what role do we play in supporting people's expressive um, ability, or
Hmm.
giving them a voice? And everybody has an opportunity to say and share something, no matter how soft that voice is. Give that person the floor, give them the platform in order to be able to do that and reach for it. And in that last moment, Roger, you have just basically totally validated what these
Yeah.
movements are all about. And
Yeah.
I love you for that. And I'm gonna wrap it up with saying, you have been I don't know, I think we've been at this for at least a year and a half, I think, right? We've been
Man. At
back
least. At
connected,
least. Yeah. Yeah.
but you and I haven't had a lot of time on the phone. I think probably this is
Yeah. The
the
longest.
first time that we do this and in person,
Right.
and be able to look you in the eyes, and to feel you, and
Right.
to absorb your message for everybody viewing. Is, I have to say, a profound and genuine thank you for being a part of my life and my expressions, and the things that are dear to me and personal, and being afraid of starting fire, starting on the cusp, especially this one for
Right.
me is
Yeah.
is
Good.
is my greatest fear. This has been a project
Mm.
that's been in the making for 20 years,
Wow.
and that ability to express myself has been suffocated and stifled in many different reasons by many different circumstances, environments, and people. And you have helped me find my voice
Yeah. Well.
through the creative process. And I genuinely love you as a man and a person for propping me up and giving me confidence through
Oh.
going
Hey.
out there with some good shit, some
Doug,
good solid shit.
it goes both ways, brother. Like I said, there's, believe it or not, there's times when I'll be struggling with some negativity, and I think about you. I think about, dang it. I said, okay. Anytime Steph is talking to us, he's saying this and he's saying that, and he's always got something good to say. And why do I have to have this pissy attitude about about what I'm feeling right now? When he's yeah, I said, okay, so I try to change the mindset from time to time, and hopefully it helps. I mean, it does help me when I think about it, but I guess what I'm saying is hopefully I can continue that and try to get away from so much negativity, because yeah, that sucks, man. It sucks, but
It,
but yeah, but like I said, you're unique in what you do. um don't give up on it. Don't stop, because you've got some great things going on. It's not going to happen overnight. I try to tell myself that it's not going to happen overnight. Keep plugging away at it. Like your mom says, yeah, we keep the tank full, and just keep going forward. So I wish that for all of us, for both of us, with the next project we have coming up and everything. I tell myself, I don't care what project it is. I'm just glad that he's going. He's keeping the wheels turning. Yeah, and people need to take note and listen to you, because it does help. It is important.
well, that means a lot. And to sign off here, a couple of things is, what I put out there and what I share, and my little moments and my little isms and ramblings of a madman and whatnot is really, the voice of what I would want to see and hear from other people. And I say, hey, I have to play my part. I have to play my part in putting that energy out there, right? Because I choose my attitude. I'm the person. Don't tell me, show me. I walk my talk, and that's something I take great pride in. But I've been known to scream in a pillow. Man.
Yeah.
And sometimes my filter.
Have you?
On like mother father, man. Like people who know me, they go, holy shit. I put on the filter for the right occasion, for the right audience. But let me tell you, unbridled, I am.
So you're human.
Oh man, I'm more than you know. So, and you teed up things nicely to finish things off in our fourth project. We're talking about is whether you're spiritual or religious. I think there was a moment in our time here together. We talked about hustle hard and the cross and all that stuff. Right. I remember listening to a show. I was on the radio, I was driving to work, and I was scanning, and it's always usually a lot of garbage. And then I stopped, and it was an evangelical show. And I'm usually not about that, but I like the sound of the guy's voice. And I said, all right, I'll just kind of stop here for a bit. Yeah. And I was listening to him, and he was talking about Jesus Christ's last moments on the cross. And he said the word teteslai in Hebrew. Okay, teteslai is Hebrew for paid in full. Paid in full. Wow. And I remember almost crying because that went through me like an X-ray. That I am paying my debt in full is what his message was when he said teteslai. Wow. And that, when I reached out to you and I said, I want there to be a brand and a badge for the good people who are fighting really hard to do good by people in this world, that there's something like Hustle Hard or something that represents that. Because when I leave this world, like you said, I got lots in the tank, lots of miles still ahead of me, but we don't know the time we've been given. We just don't know that.
No, we don't.
And I've had my health scares that tells me differently, right?
Right. I
want to leave here with a legacy where it was like, that guy there, he paid his debt in full. You, sir, have done that.
I'm working on, brother. I appreciate you, Steph.
Likewise. Thank you for doing this with me, Roger. It's just what an incredible experience. This is what I want for the world. This is what I want for people to be able to tune into and just have a very honest conversation about stuff. I mean, nothing's off the table. Yeah. And we'll do this again. We'll do this as a group. We'll get some people in and we'll have some great fun. So I'm going to hit you up soon, get that paid in full project going, and therefore people will get to see more great work coming out from you. Roger Casanova at Casanova Design USA. Look him up on Instagram.
It is. You see it there? You see it there?
There it is, man. Absolutely good vibes only. This is what this man brings. And thank you for providing us with a great show. You are the genuine article.
Steph, thank you. I appreciate those that stayed along and listened in. And to Mom, thank you. Have a good night, Mom. O'Brien, have a good night, buddy. I appreciate you, brother. I'm glad we hooked up too. Steph, thank you so much. I love you, bro.
I love you too, bud. Chat soon.
Okay.
Good night, everybody.